Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to begin our program, Rebecca Arthur.
Good afternoon. I hope you all have enjoyed your lunch. I have the pleasure of introducing Chairman Lockhart this morning and just sharing a little bit about her history. If you've been involved in Seminole County at all over the past 20 years, chances are you've met and connected with Chairman Lockhart. She is the epitome of what service looks like. In 1996, Chairman Lockhart moved to Seminole County and raised her two children, Karis and Jake. As they grew up, she re-entered the workforce, and 20 years ago next year, she started working as an executive assistant for the Seminole County Board of Commissioners. Today, she is your chair. Of course, over her entire life and career, she's been a centerpiece in this community. Many people knew when she was a board member on the school board. She's a trustee of Seminole State College for nearly a decade and was the 2022 Florida Trustee of the Year for the Association of Florida Colleges. She was the 2019 Woman of the Year in Orange Appeal magazine. I don't think I've ever had the pleasure of introducing a brave lass before, but in 2013, Chairman Lockhart received the Brave Lass Award from the Scottish American Society of Central Florida. You didn't expect that? She didn't expect that one. We could list all the organizations she's been part of, but then I would take up all of her time. So please join me in welcome Chairman Lockhart to the stage.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, for that introduction. A brave lass really is a thing. I didn't know it until they called me one, and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Who knew? Thank you all so much for being here. The fact that you're here today is because you are already invested in this community. You run your businesses here, you likely are raising your families here, and you're savvy business people. And you know a good investment when you see one, and you know a good partner when you want to enter into a good deal. And we think in Seminole County, we're a pretty good deal that you might want to partner with. So we appreciate the opportunity that the Chamber provides us every year to take an opportunity to look at the past year and look forward into the future. Prior and future accomplishments we know in this community are only possible due to our many partnerships, both public and private sector. So today provides us, and I've been watching you all at lunch, it's amazing. This is like a networking thing with a lunch. This is an opportunity for everyone to network. And so there are almost 500 of us in this room. So it might be a little hard to find the person that you are looking for today. Maybe you came today with the idea that you wanted to swap business cards with like the mayor of Longwood, Matt Morgan. And you know, he might be a little hard to find in a room this size. Or maybe not. So we're going to make the introduction of elected officials a little easier for everyone today and maybe a little bit more fun. I'm going to ask, as I mention your name or the elected official or the entity that you represent, to just stand up wherever you are in the room and wave. And so it may look a little bit like whack-a-mole. We're going to have elected officials popping up around the room. But I want you all to just continue clapping and snap for your fan favorites. We're going to move through these and be sure and recognize all of our wonderful partners. So again, be sure and clap for all your fan favorites. Senators Marco Rubio, Rick Scott, and newly elected Congressman Corey Mills. Senator Jason Broder and Representatives David Smith, Doug Bankson, Rachel Plakin, and Susan Placencia. Property appraiser David Johnson, Supervisor of Elections Chris Anderson, yeah, give a whoop whoop. Tax collector J.R. Kroll, Sheriff Dennis Lima, Clerk of the Court and Comptroller Grant Malloy. School board members, Chairman Christine Kraus, Vice Chairman Abby Sanchez, board members Amy Pennock, Kelly Davis, and Autumn Garrick, and Superintendent Sarita Beeman. Our 18th Judicial Circuit Court judges and county court judges, mayors, commissioners, and council members, and city managers from, are you ready? Altamont Springs, Castleberry, Lake Mary, Longwood, Oviedo, Sanford, and Winter Springs. I think this side of the room is heavy on that side. From Seminole State College, we have our president, Dr. Georgia Lorenz, and my fabulous colleagues and fellow Seminole State trustees appointed by Governor Ron DeSantis, Chairman Bob Cortez, Vice Chairman Dan O'Keefe, John Good, and Sean Molesberger. Do we have any other elected officials with us today from around the region or anyone that I missed? We'd love to recognize you if you'd stand. I see one hiding. Stand up, Myra Uribe. Commissioner Uribe, thank you for joining us today. Anyone else? Last, but certainly not least, my colleagues on the Seminole County Board of County Commissioners. Vice Chairman Andrea Herr, Commissioner Bob Delary, Jay Zembauer, and Commissioner Lee Constantine. It is truly an adventure serving with all of you. It's fabulous. In our county's business model, the 5 of us serve as a board of directors, and we have a CEO. So we are thrilled to welcome our new CEO, County Manager Darren Gray. Darren has more than 25 years of government experience. He served as the county manager in Lake County, the deputy county manager in Orange and Osceola counties, and the city manager in Claremont, where, if you did not know, they actually named a day for him after he left. They loved him so much. Isn't that sweet? I know. So Darren's a Navy veteran who was raised in Central Florida. Go Navy. When he first interned at Orange County in their budget office, he realized that serving the public was really the right thing for him, and he's been a steadfast civil servant ever since. So our commission together selected Darren because he's a forward-thinking transformational leader. He inspires our employees to be innovative and create the change that's necessary to shape the future success of our county. So we welcome you, Darren. Thank you for being willing to join us. As many of you may remember, we took some time to find Darren, and I want to thank those who were able to keep our ship afloat while we searched for our new county manager. Tricia Johnson and Melanie Kuntz and Bryant Applegate. Without you and the rest of your team, our ship would have sunk. So our goal today is to do more than simply recap 2022, although we're going to touch on some historic highlights. Today, we want to invite you to look with us into the future. What is Seminole County going to look like? Let's envision that together. With our new Chief Executive Officer at the helm, we are going to focus on the future. As many of you will remember, the county received $91 million in American Rescue Plan Act money. These funds can support both short-term pandemic relief and long-term improvements in the community. As an example, our partnership with Seminole State College connected underemployed and unemployed residents with local job opportunities. Through employer and community partnerships and innovative course delivery, the county, college, and other partners like the City of Sanford and Orlando Health came together to offer short-term workforce training and industry certifications. There are many other notable projects that you can learn about in your 2022 State of the County presentation, the County Manager's Report, so you can dig into all of those details if you want to later. I'm just going to highlight a few for you. Our new home ownership program is just one part of the county's larger affordable housing strategy. This initiative was created for qualified, low-income, first-time home buyers and will give us another tool in our toolbox to address our affordable housing shortage. We've joined with 2 developers, Florida Specs and Habitat for Humanity, to make this program possible. Each organization was given $1 million in ARPA funds to build 5 single-family homes. Once the homes are sold, the developer will reimburse the county and continue the ongoing development, sort of like a revolving line of credit, so that they can continue ongoing development of more affordable housing. It's actually a very unique. Kudos to our team, wherever they are, that came up with this idea. Fantastic. And we were able to break ground on the first home just this last week. Our new free community paramedicine program targets patient populations with the goal of providing accessible care, preventing avoidable 911 calls, and decreasing hospital admissions by engaging our residents with our own specifically trained county fire EMS professionals. Since its inception, there have been more than 2,200 visits made to citizens, like a 34-year-old Oviedo man who was recently discharged from the hospital and he was having trouble getting a home health agency. So our paramedics were able to come to him, transfer him from his bed to his chair, and provide the resources that he needed to assist with his care. Or a woman who was in her 80s in Altamont Springs. A floorboard kept popping up in her apartment, causing multiple falls and 911 calls. So paramedic Rappa was able to step in and proactively facilitate the repairs that were needed. Community paramedicine is all about advocacy. It's connecting patients to community resources and proactive medicine. Our goal is to continue to grow the program, closing the healthcare gap and improving access, ultimately decreasing healthcare costs for everyone in Seminole County. Our community health initiative began with a health needs assessment that established priority areas to improve health, wellness, and quality of life for our residents. Partnering with multiple agencies, we identified opportunities to improve access to mental health services, including outpatient behavioral health, employability training, inpatient treatment, and peer recovery services. Later this year, we anticipate launching a boots-on-the-ground healthcare navigation program that will benefit disproportionately impacted members of our community. As you can see, our board has made a commitment to prioritize community resources for all communities in this county. Communities where there has been historic inequity are beginning to see critical investments in the form of historic renovation and revitalization and infrastructure improvements. One of our most notable community investments is at the Rosenwald School. Let's learn more about this exciting development.
It's a picture of the outside of the school.
Altamont Springs resident Chorus Need not only taught kindergarten at Rosenwald School back in the late 1960s.
This building, that classroom.
She also went to school there herself from 1st to 8th grade.
I love this school. I love my history. I'm still in the community.
Rosenwald opened back in 1931 as one of thousands of schools built for black students across the South during the segregation era. After being shuttered for years, Seminole County purchased the property in 2019 with goals of revitalizing and transforming the 12-acre lot.
We saw the opportunity to once again make it the focal point of the educational opportunities in this community, but also a place of pride, a community, a location that the community can come together.
The current concept, a hybrid one, with plans to keep 3 of the original buildings in place, along with new development.
And the new development would consist of a community center, as well as multifamily affordable housing, as well as some outdoor amenities like a dock on the lake.
Multi-purpose, with the true purpose being to serve the community once again.
Serve the community. I want it to be a part of serving the community. I just don't want it to, this piece of property to become a piece of real estate to make money on. I want to see it be a part of this community.
We have very significant communities throughout Seminole County. Each one has their own heartbeat, if you will. This is the heartbeat of East Altamont and Wynwood.
Thank you, Commissioner Constantine, for sharing more about the East Altamont and Wynwood communities. Redevelopment of this site includes demolition of all but 3 of the buildings, which is nearly complete. And while the ARPA funds were able to spark the revitalization of this former school, that's only going to get us so far. So the county is currently seeking partners, we talked about partners, to redevelop this landmark. About 14 miles to the north, the county has another local effort in the Midway community, and Vice Chairman Andrea Herr is going to share more about that.
Since 2020, nearly $20 million have been dedicated to the Midway community to improve quality of life. Most recently, a $10 million investment from the American Rescue Plan Act.
The ARPA funds coming in from the federal government gave us the opportunity to boost forward the work that was already being done.
Improvements are slated for everything from sidewalk installations to repaved basketball courts and new playground structures with shade. But the most significant improvements are focused on alleviating the drainage issues.
All of these are drainage improvements that would need to be done.
Flooding and standing water frequently a concern due to low-lying streets and surrounding developments on higher land.
First, taking care of drainage. Let's call that like it is. That's the basis of making sure that the community makes sense in terms of how you live and function every day after a rainstorm. And right now, it's not wonderful. And in some areas, it's pretty bad.
The work extensive to go from this to a completely new network of piping, runoff structures, and ultimately ponds for water storage.
This is a major retrofit project.
New drainage systems, new sidewalks, new playgrounds with shade, and repaved basketball courts. New Florida-friendly landscaping on State Road 46 and State Road 415, and the potential for a much larger future park and trail off of Brisson Avenue, the current location of a fenced-off retention pond.
That's about an 89-acre lake that currently has a fence all the way around it. We're looking at this project as being Seminole County's next great park. There's a fantastic opportunity here with a community asset that right now really no one has access to.
All that work is just beginning in the Midway community.
There are multiple improvements in the Midway community that are ongoing, and the county will continue to work with our local, state, and federal partners to fund these projects fully. As we invest in our community, the county also continues to invest in ways to make government more accessible. Many of you may not know, but one of our Florida State Supreme Court justices hails from Seminole County, and we broke ground on the Justice James E.C. Perry Courthouse Annex just this last year. This will be the future home for the state attorney, the public defender, clerk of the court, and various administrative offices. And if you're ever called for jury duty, there's good news. There's a new free parking garage that was opened just this last February. This $166 million project will be completed in 2025 and was funded through a 30-year fixed-rate bond. As the county prepared to purchase the bond, our credit rating was being evaluated. Both Standard & Poor's and Moody's raised Seminole County's credit rating along with its credit rating on the county's non-ad valorem debt. This reflects positive operations and economic growth within the county, supported by forward-thinking policies and practices while maintaining solid reserves. Our bond rating isn't the only thing going up in Seminole County, so is our population. The 2020 census demonstrated that we grew 11% in the last 10 years, and our county is anticipated to increase 100,000 residents in the next 20 years. In light of this growth, the board launched Envision Seminole 2045, a county-wide strategy intended to create a blueprint for our future. Over 6 months, the county conducted several board work sessions, a county-wide listening tour, and issued a county-wide survey that included more than 2,800 participants. Envision Seminole 2045 was adopted by the board last fall, and for the first time in 2 decades, comprehensive updates to the Land Development Code are under consideration. These include amendments to plan development, cluster subdivisions, open space requirements, arbor protections, parking spaces, and solar power regulations. Naturally, ensuring that Seminole County grows responsibly means that we must protect our most valuable assets: the rural boundary, and water.
We have something good out here and we want to keep it that way.
In 2004, Seminole County voters chose to establish the rural boundary, separating the urban from the east rural area. Comprised of more than 74,000 acres, the rural boundary includes several parks and trails, such as the Little Big Econ State Forest, the Lake Jessup Wilderness Area, and the Florida National Scenic Trail.
People drive hundreds of miles sometimes to see this kind of real Florida. And we've preserved for our citizens, and quite frankly for everybody in Florida, this slice of Mother Nature that you only have to drive 15 minutes from anywhere in Seminole County and enjoy the great outdoors.
Seminole County is the 4th smallest county in the state, but the 3rd most densely populated. By regulating development in the rural boundary, this gets to be preserved for both visitors and families living within the boundary.
If we don't protect it now, literally it could be paved from one end of the county to the other, and that's why the wisdom was to put this into perpetuity, to have the rural boundary for future generations.
Seminole County is Florida's natural choice, and the protection of the rural boundary and waterways is key.
We need to get a better handle on what will happen when a hurricane or a flash flood or a 500-year storm comes through.
There are 16 watersheds or drainage basins in Seminole County, many of which experienced historic flooding following Hurricane Ian.
You can see the brown watermarks on the trees. In the back over here, the water is up about 8 to 10 feet.
With aging infrastructure, land development, and changing rainfall, regular studies of these drainage basins are necessary, not only for flood control, but also water quality.
Water is getting to be a scarce commodity when it comes to drinking water. By controlling our stormwater, our lakes and our rivers, we can actually preserve our drinking water for decades to come.
Thank you, Commissioner Delary and Commissioner Zembauer, for sharing your passion with us. As Commissioner Delary mentioned, Hurricane Ian caused record flooding here in Seminole County.
In late September, when Hurricane Ian hit, Seminole County experienced historical flooding, the likes many neighborhoods have never seen before. Areas of town along Gee Creek, Little Wekiva, Big and Little Econ, and St. Johns River underwater, with the county above action flood stage for 85 days. With the unprecedented rising waters came the need for water rescues from their homes. Over 200 people evacuated by the Seminole County Fire Department, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, and the National Guard. And of those flooded homes, over 5,000 have been declared damaged by inspectors.
This level here, you can see that was the high level of the water.
To the tune of over $340 million.
It's Saturday, about 2 p.m.
Residents and businesses alike affected by this historic flooding, especially along the larger St. Johns River and lakes, Lake Jessup and Lake Monroe. Due to the swift and coordinated response efforts, Seminole County received a major presidential disaster declaration, with FEMA giving 100% reimbursement for protective measures.
Addressing hurricanes, environmental changes, and ongoing development is truly a balancing act. And if you don't believe me, just come to a county commission meeting. With growth and unforeseen natural disasters come ongoing needs for infrastructure improvement. In 1991, our residents approved the county's first 1-cent infrastructure sales tax. Since that time, voters have renewed what we like to call the penny 2 more times to support hundreds of projects across the county. Keep in mind, 100% of this sales tax stays in Seminole County, and it's used for local public projects. And we don't even pay all of it. 20 to 30% of the revenue generated is paid by tourists and visitors. Unlike property taxes, the penny is not levied just against county property owners and businesses. Last year, $101 million was generated by the penny countywide. It includes our 7 cities and our school board, and it's the highest revenue in 1 year to date. To most folks, I get it. The penny is just another involuntary tax that lands in the government coffers with little effect. So I want you to consider with me for a moment how the penny sales tax has impacted your life on a regular basis. Do you enjoy the City of Longwood's redeveloped Ryder Park? Portions of that project were funded by the penny. Do any of your children attend Lyman High School? Their football stadium renovation was funded by the penny, as was the Hamilton Elementary School of Engineering and Technology campus-wide renovation, the Milwee Middle School gym replacement, and the renewable energy labs at Indian Trails Middle and the Winter Springs High School. And the Seminole High School Aviation Building was all built thanks to the penny. If you've taken a jog on the beautiful Riverwalk in Sanford, that project was funded by the penny. We've made improvements to the Cross Seminole Trail, the Central Winds Trailhead, the Mellonville Trail Loop, and the Wekiva Trail, all thanks to the penny. Water quality projects such as the Little Wekiva River restoration and upgrades to all of our regional stormwater facilities that keep harmful toxins out of our county's water bodies, all funded, at least in part, by the penny. So for just a minute, I want you to pick out the little card that's on your table that has a penny on it. We have not even touched on the hundreds of millions of dollars expended on trails, bike lanes, pedestrian bridges, parking expansion, traffic signalization, playground resurfacing, safety vehicles, turn lanes, drainage improvements, bridge replacements, sidewalk rehabilitation, stormwater ponds, mast arms, road widening, erosion control, culvert replacements, lighting upgrades, roadway resurfacing, underground conversions, and corridor advancements. Whew. Trails, are a huge part of this project. There are so many other things that we all enjoy on an everyday basis. You may not realize it, but this 1 cent has made a big impact on each of our lives every single day for 30 years. Projects like these have been funded with the nearly $2 billion that's been collected countywide. So consider what happens with me for a moment when 100,000 more people move here by 2045. Improvements to local roads will decrease your time in traffic. Investments in our schools will provide for technology upgrades and repairs to aging facilities. Enhancements to intersections, sidewalks, and pedestrian trails will make biking and walking safer. Expanded infrastructure technologies will allow for even faster 911 response times. So the current penny sunsets in December of 2024. If this sales tax is not renewed, we will have to reprioritize our projects. And while no specific strategies have been discussed to date, without the revenue from the penny, these elected bodies are going to have to consider other options, which may include service reduction, increased taxes or fees. So we need your help. As a result of new legislation, the county, cities, and school board are extremely limited in how we can educate the public on the necessity of the penny. So it's going to be up to you, the leaders in our community, to help us get the word out about how imperative renewal of the penny is to the future growth of our county. It just makes common sense. As I said earlier, you're here today because you're invested in this community, our community. The penny is a long-term investment in our future, and it doesn't just matter to the Board of County Commissioners, the cities, or the school board. The penny is an investment that matters to our constitutional officers, to Seminole State College, to Leadership Seminole, to the Orlando Regional Realtors Association, the Sanford Airport, our developers, our hospitals, hotels, and most importantly, the almost 500,000 residents who call Seminole County home. Frankly, the penny benefits every single entity represented in this room today, and it's going to require all of us to get us past the finish line a fourth time. So I want to thank you all for being here today. Thank you for investing in our community. I want to thank the Chamber and thank all of the sponsors who are here for hosting this event. And finally, thank you to my colleagues on the County Commission. I want to thank our entire leadership team, and most importantly, the 1,400 county employees who make everything happen every day that comes to a reality that you were able to see on the screens. We appreciate you all being here. Go have a great day.
Thank you, Chairman, for speaking this morning and sharing with us. Please make sure you take the county reports with you when you leave, that they were on your chairs. Please join me in thanking our amazing sponsors one more time. Thank you to Fairwinds, Advent Health, Duke Energy, Highland, Verizon, Seminole State College, Recovery Connections, Orlando Health, AT&T, and Florida Blue. Thank you again to the County Commission and staff for this program. Thank you to the Seminole County Fire Department and Seminole County Sheriff's Office for the Color Guard, and have a wonderful Seminole County Day.